The Turbografx-16.
Darkwing Duck, based on the TV show.
All right, guys, welcome to the St. Canard Files, the Darkwing Duck podcast. I'm your host, Will Santana, and I'm here with two guests. I got my boys, Jose and Kevin here. No Mike Russo, because unfortunately, with our topic today, Mike has never played this before. And I got my boys, Kevin and Jose, because they're my turbo guys. Ain't no way around it, guys. So what's going on, Kevin?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, everybody?
Jose?
Hey, what's up, guys?
And Jose, you're in Cali, right?
Yeah, I'm in California.
And Kevin, you're close to me. You're in South Carolina, right?
Yeah, I'm right at the border of the Carolinas, about 20 minutes away from Charlotte.
Oh, okay. So, you're way up northern from
Oh,
me.
yeah, I'm up here.
All right, guys. Well, a lot of times when I talk about this Turbo game with Darkwing fans, none of them have ever played it. All they know is the AVGN version of the video that he put out. So that's all they know about this game. Before we get into the game, Jose, can you tell us your experience with Turbo? Because I'll be honest with you guys are the only people I know who even have a Turbografx or a PC Engine.
Well, my first time ever seeing the system itself or playing it, this is back probably, like 87? Because I think I got the Nintendo in 87. One of my friends, he's like, hey, do you want to play, I think he said Bonks. All right, go ahead and bring it over. And when he brought over the system, and he brought 2 CD cases with him. And I'm like, oh, the system is CD. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. He's like, oh, no, it's just a thing to hold the game. He opens it up, and he pulls out this credit card size cartridge. And I'm like, this is a game, being used to playing the Nintendo, you had those big-ass, almost VHS-type size cartridges. So I'm like, all right, well, let's, try it out. We hooked it up, and when we started playing it, the first game we played was Bonks Adventure. And then after Bonks Adventure, I think we played maybe Keith Courage. Either Keith Courage or one of the shooters. I forget which one. It might have been Blazing Lasers. But I think he only brought like 2 or 3 games, so don't remember the number of games he brought, but I know he brought at least Bonks, Keith Courage, or Blazing Lasers. And I remember playing it, and I remember like being blown by the graphics, by the color, and the sprite sizes. Versus, the Nintendo, which had small sprites. The colors were kind of, I want to say they're muted, but it wasn't as many as what the Turbo was putting out. And of course, the sound was was better, I think. But that was it, and then maybe going to Toys R Us, I'd always see the displays. They always have one side of the glass display with systems set up with games playing. Sometimes they're playing video, commercials, or what they would call promotional videos playing in the background. And then the other side was the I forget what they called them, but the little card pros or bit pros, I forgot what they were called. The ones that it was let me show you the front of the game, and then you flip it to the back, and it would tell you, what's the game about. And then you have all those little tickets that you'd pull out to go take up to the cashier, pay, and then you'd have to go to kind of like another behind the cage, kind of like a casino, where you give them the receipt, and then they give you the game. So yeah, that was my first time ever like with the Turbo. After that, I just kind of forgot about it. Never really thought of it because it went from, for me it was always Nintendo, then Super Nintendo. I kind of skipped the N64 and went straight to PlayStation by then. So,
okay. How about you, Kevin? How did you get introduced to the Turbo?
Yeah, it was, I believe it was the winter of 1989, I believe, and my parents went to Service Merchandise. It was a retail store out here when I used to live in Virginia.
I know Service Merchandise.
You remember that? My parents bought it. It came with Keith Courage, and I was allowed to get one game. And I think the only game they had out at that time was China Warrior.
Ooh.
So I remember getting it home, and I played Keith Courage for hours upon hours. and I was mesmerized by it because it was a jump from the Nintendo to that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you imagine playing Kung Fu on the Nintendo and then playing China Warrior on a Turbografx, the graphics, everything was just so much better to me.
Yeah.
So I had a blast with the system. Unfortunately, after I got China Warrior, it was probably a year after that until I got another game. It was hard for me to find games in Virginia for it. I think we got Bonk's Adventure, and then a little after that, the system was on clearance, and I couldn't find it anywhere in the stores. The Toys R Us that was close to us, all the games were on clearance, but they were all gone by the time I was able to get there. I had to save my allowance up for my parents to take me to the store to buy games, and everything was gone. But yeah, it's a great system with a lot of games. I wish that it had more of a fanfare back in the day when it was released.
Yeah.
Because I think if the system stayed around as long as it did in Japan, I think the system would get more appreciation.
Well, the version of Japan, that's a whole different ball game.
Oh yes, we can be here for hours talking about all the games for that system.
Yeah, in Japan, I think it was like the #1 system. It beat out Sega, and I think it beat out Nintendo only because Nintendo was so highly pirated that you could just buy pirated games. You don't have to buy the official games, or people were kind of not cloning, but they were they were ripping the games and putting on bootleg carts. And NEC and with Hudson Soft made that chip that only they had that only they had the patent to it, so nobody else can make those games. I think eventually they did reverse engineer it, and they were able to make those the unofficial, the PC cards. I don't know if you saw those, Kevin, that Kevin had. I mean that Oscar had. So they were eventually they did kind of reverse engineer, but by that time Nintendo kind of like just already went to Super Nintendo, and nobody was really paying attention to NEC.
See, I was really late with the Turbo. I actually didn't even get the Turbo. I never even had the Turbo. I got the PC Engine Dual R like around 90, 91. And the only reason why I got it was because one of my neighbors, he was stationed in Japan for a little while, and we were military, and he came over and he had like 3 of the PC Engine Dual R. Now this ain't the one that I had back then, but
I was gonna say.
Yeah, but yeah, I was able to get one from him, and man, I got addicted to it like it was crack, man. I didn't even want to touch my NES and Sega Genesis anymore, man. I was done with that stuff, for the Turbo for a while. Yeah. Was it the first console to have a CD player too?
I believe so, right, Kevin? I think
yes, it was the first. Yes, because Sega CD, Atari Jaguars. Yeah, it was the first.
It was the first. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe. Well,
was it FM Town?
It might have been FM Town. I'd have to look. I think it might be the first one that had a commercial release.
Yeah.
That had the commercial release as widespread as all the other ones. After that, like the Jaguar and the Sega CD. Yeah. I can remember the Turbografx CD box, seeing it the first time at Electronic Boutique. I was like, why is this box so big?
They included the base and then the case for it, so that's why it was so big. The system alone was only maybe about like no bigger than what, 8 by 8, I think.
It's not that. Yeah, it's not that big.
But it's probably like one of those 90s early CD Walkmans, that kind of size, or actually a little bit bigger than that. But yeah, it had the base, it had the power supply, it had the actual case to store the system and the CD system with its space. So yeah, that's why it's a big box. Now, Jose, Oscar has a cool story about it, but he's not here.
Yeah, he's not here right now. Now, Jose, what's your favorite game on the Turbo?
As far as the Turbo, I mean, I like the Bonk's Revenge, and I'm mostly favored to the shooters. But I'm not good at the shooters. I'm not gonna lie. I do die, but I like them because it's just some kind of relaxing a little bit, and then you kind of just zone in on it, and then you can get pretty far on it. So I'm always playing all the shooters, which is Blazing Lasers, Soldier Blade, Airzonk.
Airzonk. That's a good one. Yeah.
So I know everybody likes the Magical Chase, but that's like the super rare.
That's like the forbidden fruit one. That's why.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
just rare. It's just rare because by the time that it was released, I think TTI by that time had already taken over from Turbozone Direct. Sorry, it was TTI then Turbozone Direct. So by that time they were already like, all right, we're done. You know, we're going bankrupt. And the last of the last was Magical Chase, and so it didn't. Some say it never got out to retail. That the only way to get it was through mail order only through their Turbozone Direct mail-in like catalogs. And I think even our friend Sarumaru, he actually ordered a game and he got a second game of his choice. And I think that's one of the ones he chose. I think he chose Magical Chase. But they said, well, we have Magical Chase, and I forgot the other game. And he chose the other game versus Magical Chase.
Yeah,
so
I don't think Magical Chase is a bad game. I just get why people love it so much. You know,
it's cute. It's a cute game, but you know, I think the other ones are a little bit better. It's just that it's rare. I think that's about it.
There's a lot of games that are better to me on the system that are better than Magical Chase. Just people just buying it for the rarity.
Yeah.
You know, I honestly think Legend of Hirotoma is more rare than Magical Chase.
Yeah.
I've seen copies of Magical Chase on eBay or at conventions we've gone to, but it's rare that
never pops up. Yeah.
Hirotoma, I never see that one pop up. Every once in a blue moon, I
think somebody did have it. Maybe not this last time we were there at the.
I see the same guy who has it that he's always trying to trade for it.
What's his name? Shit.
Y'all know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I forgot his name.
DK. Yeah, he had Hirotoma, and I remember I asked him, well, what do you want for it? And at the time he wanted, I think, I want to say over 500 for it. At the time it was like maybe 5 years ago. And then he's like, well, actually I'll trade it for, I'd rather trade it for this other game. Do you remember that one game, Kevin, that he always wanted?
I forgot the game he wanted. Maybe
it's a CD game, Dynastic Heroes. He wanted Dynastic Heroes, and he's like, well, I'll only trade it for Dynastic Heroes or $500. And at the time, Magical Chase was not known. Like, nobody was really into the Turbo. So at that time, it wasn't worth much. It was maybe worth $350, Hirotoma. And I go, oh, look, I'll give you $350 cash right now. He's like, no, I'd rather trade it. And, of course, you know, Turbo games weren't worth much back in the days, because I remember buying I bought Splatterhouse for like maybe $20. I bought Bonks for like $12, and now Bonks Adventures is like a $40 game now.
Yeah.
You know, I think Splatterhouse is already above 50.
I think it's a sign of the times right now. Anything collectible is going up in value right now, especially with everybody being you know, trapped in your house right now. You're starting to bring back memories of your childhood, things you used to play with.
And they got the stimulus checks too.
Yeah, stimulus check. You're right. Movies, CDs, everything's.
Oh, you got it now.
Yeah, I got it. This is actually the one that Kevin. Remember, you went to World 1-1, and this is where you picked it up. He actually, I was gonna buy it originally from Kevin, but I didn't have the cash for it, and I didn't want to be like, oh, I'll pay you later. You know, I'd rather pay him up front. Like, I already pay you now. Like, you know what? I just don't have the money or the funds for it. You know, and then our other friend, David, he bought it. And then when David decided to get out, he said, okay, I'll sell it to you for the exact same price that I got it from Kevin. So, all right, cool.
Deal. So that means you got a good deal on it, because Kevin always gives me deals, man.
Oh, yeah, you got to. You got to get deals on doubles. I'm a firm believer in that.
Okay. Yeah, man. Before we get into the terror that flaps in the night, I actually got my Darkwing for only $25. I did get it with the manual, but I didn't get it with the box, because that one didn't have the CD case, right?
No, it came in a tray.
Yeah, the tray, the manual, and the box.
Yeah.
I think the last 20 or so, or was it less than 20? I think it was less than 20 games that were released towards the end did not come in a CD jewel case. I think at that time it was TTI, which is the Turbo Technologies Inc. They cheaped out, and instead of having to have that case put in, they just made a plastic, like just a plastic case,
insert,
plastic tray insert. So it's just pretty much the hue card with the sleeve and then the manual on top, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all that. So I remember when Oscar had gotten that big lot of sealed Turbo games out here in California. He thought that the guy was selling him like display boxes. You know, he thought like, oh, these are display boxes. These are really flimsy. Like they're very light. There's no weight to these things.
Mhm.
So it wasn't until I guess one was open and he opened it up, and sure enough, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that these come in trays. At least the last of the titles came in trays only.
Yeah. For our listeners out there, if you guys ever go to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, that's where I actually met these guys and started hanging out with them. They were vendors. Okay, you got it. I got mine's around here somewhere too. Yeah, they sell games, NES, Genesis. I've never seen you guys sell Atari though. PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 stuff.
Yeah.
You guys
I think
always
A few,
had.
a few Atari games here and there.
I think
Yeah.
we have brought some Ataris, not me personally, but I know like I
Mhm.
think one time when Berman was there, he brought Atari games.
Mhm.
I think you've brought a couple, right, Kevin?
Yeah, I have in the past. Some of the ones harder to find, I would bring and sell them.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about Portland with you guys was the other vendors would buy y'all stuff and just mark it up because you guys had better deals, man. It used to piss me off.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
all right, yeah. Let's
But
go ahead and get
it
into.
was fun though. Portland was fun.
I love
Had
Portland.
a blast selling there. Met so many great people. Next time we go, we're just gonna go as shoppers this time. Who knows? We might sell again in the future.
Man. Okay. Yeah, but let's go ahead. Let's get into some Darkwing. Let's get into the terror that flaps in the night. All right. I don't know where to start with this because I know everybody's seen the AVGN video. I honestly recommend people watch Chris Bucci's review on it on YouTube.
Yeah.
His is more in depth. A lot of things he mentioned, AVGN kind of remixed it, said the same thing over. But like Chris Bucci's, what's the name of his channel? Spider 1A? Turboview?
Spider 1A, I think. I could look at it real quick, but I think it goes as Spider 1A.
And the name of the series is Turboviews, right?
Turboviews, yes.
Yeah, he actually did a pretty good review on it. And he's a Darkwing fan too, so that's another thing I liked about it.
Okay.
Now, Kevin and Jose, did y'all watch the Darkwing Duck growing up?
I remember watching it. I remember watching it back in the day. I think it was part of like the Disney Afternoon.
Yeah.
Where it had, I think it was like Chippendale.
Had a Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, Tailspin. I believe, I don't know if it was, no, Gummy Bears was like the Saturday morning cartoon, but it was Darkwing Duck and Ducktales.
Gummy Bears became Disney Afternoon for one season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on its last season.
I remember looking at it then, but other than that, I just, I even to this day, I see, reruns and I'd watch it every now and then, get good laughs out of it. It brings back a lot of memories, but.
Are you guys fans of it? You like it? Enjoy it? Jose, you do, right?
Did.
I mean, I remember watching, it was, I think, DuckTales, and then it spun off from DuckTales, watching, Darkwing Duck. But, it's one of those things where you watch it and you you forget about it, and then it isn't until like either you watch an episode and you're like, oh, okay, now I remember this episode, or I remember this, or sometimes you even forget, like, I don't remember this happening, I remember it this other way. So, but yeah, Darkwing Duck is a cartoon that I remember watching it. And yeah, Darkwing Duck, Rescue Rangers, DuckTales, and Tailspin. So yeah, those are the ones I watched. Yeah.
I'm only asking you guys this because my listeners are gonna want to know some of this stuff. If you guys watched it, and like, who's your favorite villain? These are questions they want to know probably. So,
I think the one I remember, Megavolt, was the one I used to think about.
Megavolt.
Yeah, you know who actually voiced him, Kevin? Dan Castellaneta, the guy who does the voice of Homer Simpson.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was that was Mark Hamill.
Yeah, so good luck getting his autograph.
Wow. Wow, okay. Yeah, I do remember that one where he was going against Megavolt, and I thought the cartoon was well done. It was just clever. I thought it was more, I don't know, at the age when I was watching the Disney Afternoon and looking at the Disney cartoons, it was almost, I felt like it was more like an adult-based cartoon compared to Ducktales and other stuff Disney was offering at that time.
So I'm Oscar, and I have a little YouTube channel called Sci-Fic, which I've been doing like Turbografx collections and video game pickups and stuff like that. And I think I've been doing it since like 2012 or something. And I did that's pretty much how we all met, is through doing the YouTube channels and stuff. And then we found out that a bunch of us were local to each other, so that was kind of cool. Yeah. But yeah, I've just been trying to keep it up here and there, but it's tough now, man. Like just trying to find stuff these days is just not like it used to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty dry out there.
Real quick, Oscar, we already talked about this with Kevin and Jose. What's your favorite Turbo game?
Oh man. Honestly, if I have to break it down, it's gonna have to be like Blazing Lasers. I mean, like even
That's
if
a
you're
good
not
one.
into shooters,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like such an easy game to just pick up. Like there's really no super difficulty to it. Well, of course, till you get to the later levels, but it's just a fun, easy game to pick up. You know, it's like, you know, some people are scared of shooters because they think they're kind of like too hard or whatever. But this game you can just pick up and just start going at it and having fun. You know, and so that's what I've always loved about that game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably say that game would probably be one of my, like, I could just pop it in anytime and just have a quick run at it, you know, and then get caught up in it and just be like, you know, already like in the 4th or 5th level, like without even realizing it, you know. So
I was gonna say that's my favorite game too on the Turbografx, Blazing Lasers.
Blazing Lasers.
Yeah.
I think mine is Air Zonk, man. I love Air Zonk, man.
Air Zonk is good, but it's pretty hard, and
It's hard.
Yes.
I think the problem with Air Zonk, it's kind of like Koryun, where you sometimes can't tell like what are bosses. I mean, like bullets, and then what are like actual like
Power ups, energies.
Yeah, power ups and energy stuff. Like that makes it kind of tough sometimes. Yeah, but I mean, it's an awesome game and has an awesome soundtrack. So yeah.
Yes. I know Darkwing has the bad rep, you know, with the turbo, but I think Deep Blue is the worst game, man.
Oh yeah, that's pretty. Me and Jose have this running joke where people always they always ask for recommendations, and we always tell people Deep Blue.
Oh, that's dirty, man. That is so wrong. I swear to God, the first time I ever played that game, I literally fell asleep. It was that boring, man.
Yeah, I would say Deep Blue's probably. Oh boy.
Maybe even China Warrior is pretty bad too. I mean, I know
that was like the first game I bought.
I mean, it was meant to be just a tech demo to show how big the sprites could be. I don't think it was ever really intended to be a great game or anything, but yeah, it's just kind of that one's pretty horrible. But
I think you're right, Will. I think Deep Blue's the worst.
Yeah, Deep Blue is terrible, man. Well, everybody who's listening to the podcast, they're gonna Google it or look it up on YouTube. Like, oh,
I know.
God.
Now it's gonna be a trending game. Watch.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right,
you're gonna sealed. You're gonna see sealed copies being sold on Wada and shit.
I know, right?
Well, you know, actually, I actually saw a copy of Deep Blue like recently. Like, I remember you could buy that game like new sealed for like $20-$30.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's going for like.
Didn't I buy that one off that skate shop?
Yeah.
For the collection, sealed.
Right? But now it's going for like $80 to $100. I'm like, oh, man.
Deep Blue is going that much?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a ripoff.
Right now, pricing for video games is just insane. I mean, we had this conversation before where we were like, it can't get any crazier. And just as we say that, the market
keeps going up.
I mean,
it keeps going up. Everything.
I mean, that Turbo magazine that you guys sent me the link to, $260.
Like, did it already end?
Yeah, it ended yesterday.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
it ended yesterday. I saw it.
Oscar, you're the only one of us.
It ended like at 260 or something.
Dang.
Yeah.
Oscar, you're the only one of us who had a complete turbo set, right?
I still actually don't have a complete set.
No, but you had one though, right? You had a complete set.
No, I've never actually had a complete set. I have every single Hue card with the box. But I'm still missing 4 CD games. Yeah, that I just can't pay for them. I refuse to pay for them. You know.
Kevin, you came close, right?
Yeah, I'm just down to 4. Just down to 4 games.
Yeah, for me, the U card, I got everything except Magical Chase.
Yeah,
and then the disc games. I don't have. There's quite a few disc games. Probably about 10 I'm missing.
Yeah.
Godzilla, Dungeon Explorer 2,
Ooh,
Terraforming, Dynastic Hero, all the big boys. Yeah, just like Oscar, I can't pay. I refuse to pay the prices for those games.
Jose, you're missing one from the Hue card, right?
Just Magical Chase. I mean, the closest I ever got to it is one of those repo cards or repo games. I have a repo box. You know, and that's the closest I'll ever get to it. So I'm like, okay, that's as far as I'm gonna get. You know.
Yeah. Once you got a mortgage and kids, that stuff it's out of the question,
kids,
man.
but I mean, you know, I got.
Yeah, once the COVID hit, all that stuff went out the window.
I think Lucas, right? He's the one that has the 4 games you're missing.
Yeah, which is funny. And it's funny because he actually got them by like fighting with people on like eBay, like convincing sellers that it wasn't worth that much, that you should sell it to him for cheaper. And
he got him.
And he got him, which is hilarious.
I'm missing like 14 from the Hue card. I'm missing about 14.
Yeah, it's probably best to stay that way.
Stay that way.
It's not worth it right now. Just to pay these prices right now, it's not worth it. For any collectors trying to get into this, just get the Turbografx Mini and just wait for mods to come out.
Yeah.
Oh, and Oscar, we've already said we're not even going to bring up PC Engine. That's a whole different ball game.
Oh,
it's a different monster.
Well, not only that, but it has over 700 games.
Yeah.
I mean, it was big in Japan.
Yeah, as I was telling you earlier, that in Japan it was like #1. It beat out Sega, and I think it beat out Nintendo for a while.
Yeah, they actually gave the Famicom a run for its money. Yeah.
Yeah. Briefly it did until Super Famicom came out.
Yeah, until the Super Nintendo came out, and then just obliterated everything.
Now, Oscar, back to you, man. Who was your favorite villain on Darkwing?
Oh my God, I mean, the whole game is a villain.
well, not the game, the cartoon. The cartoon.
Oh, I wasn't actually like a mega Darkwing Duck. I mean, I was actually oh my God, I can't even remember the characters' names. Honestly, I'd have to like venture back. See, now you're gonna make me want to pop the game in. And torture myself tonight.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
But as far as the game goes, one of our friends at Darkobold, he does speed runs, and he actually has one of the fastest, if not the fastest, speed run for Darkwing Duck on YouTube. And he was telling me one time that the game isn't so bad. You just have to know how to play it. And he could just speed run through it, like I think within like 15 minutes. And he literally like never touches the ground. He's like just hopping from one character to the next. You have to see him play it. It's actually pretty cool the way he does it and stuff. But I mean, it's just the mechanics of the game, like the hitboxes. The hitbox detection is so bad. So like you'll like walk up to a character and like just get hit for like no reason. But I mean, the game gets a bad rap. I mean, it sucks that they just didn't port the NES version over, maybe with better graphics or something. But I mean, the studio that made that game, I mean, it was just horrible. I mean, just like Tailspin. I mean, Tailspin on the Turbografx is just bad too.
Now that we're talking about the game, Kevin, how do you feel about like the delay on the buttons?
It was a pain in the ass playing that. It was especially when I started playing Darkwing Duck. It was I was probably first when I popped in, it was probably in my late 20s when I finally played that game. And my patience wasn't the same as it was when I was a teenager, where I could sit there for hours and play a game for hours and hours and try it out. I think what frustrated me is when you're playing the game and you press forward and it's a delay. It doesn't move instantly. So it was just frustrating. And like you said, it's only 4 levels in the game.
Yeah.
When you get to the last level and have to do those jumping, you just want to break your controller. The last level, the jump mechanics, and I to this day I still haven't beat that game. Because every time I get to the last level, I get frustrated.
You talking about the Moriarty stage? That's the stage where you got to do all the platform jumping and stuff. It is so hard.
And I'll never forget. There's this one platform there, and it goes back and forth really fast. I think right before you get to the boss, I believe. It's like pure luck getting that jump. It's pure luck. The game, and also disappointing about the game is, when you buy the game and you look at the box and look at the back of the box, like, man, this game is gonna be really cool. The graphics are really good.
Yeah, I have the block of the game here, and I mean, you look at the back and that iconic screenshot of Darkwing Duck, like with this, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's this part here where he's like, there's like a character, a boss, and he's like, looks like he's flying, and I mean, it just looks awesome. Like it looks, that sold me back in the day on the game. And then when I got it, I was like, I literally, I think, don't you have to like fill out a puzzle like before you play the game even?
Yeah, you have to get the puzzles from each stage to get to unlock the last boss.
Even that was like hair pulling and stuff, and it's just it was really disappointing and stuff.
It was really frustrating. Just the jumping, the jump mechanics on that game is just so disappointing. And like I was saying earlier, the graphics are really good. The graphics are really good. but it's just the jumping, the weapons, no voiceovers. It was just disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been so much. I mean, to get a Disney license on a system that was pretty much on its last legs, you would think that somebody would do something wild with it, something cool. And to see that and get that is really disappointing.
Yeah. Jose, did you have any issues with the game, like with the jumping and the hit
just the
detection?
lag and the jumping? I mean, I never got further than the first stage. I would buy the games kind of like in lots when I would get lucky. Like when me and Oscar, or even me and Kevin and Oscar, we would go out to swap meets, and sometimes I get lucky and I would find a nice little lot of turbo games, which is really hard out here in California. Well, no, not really, not in California, because there was a TTI and Turbo Zone Direct spaced out here, but just finding those in the wild was hard enough. But I remember buying them and just trying out the games to see if they work and see what the game is about. Put it in there, and I'm playing it, and I'm like I'm noticing the jump is not corresponding to me pressing the button. I'm like, it's not jumping when I press jump, So you would die because you're trying to avoid the enemy, even like the first enemies, or is it like a penguin, right?
Yeah, Tuscanini.
Trying to, and it's like it's not working. I'm like, I'm done with this. Like, I know why certain people don't like this game, so I just all right, next game, And I put on another game that I gotten a lot, and I would start playing that. Like, oh, this one's better, whatever the game was. But yeah, after a while, after playing a couple of turbo games, you kind of know within the first minute if you like the game or not.
Yeah. So
that's one of the games like, okay, like what Kevin's saying, the patience to the game is like, I don't have time for this. Let me see what else I can play instead.
Did any of y'all perfect?
I remember running through the first level, and honestly, I didn't really even know what to do in the first level. Like, I wasn't sure what was because you kind of just start off, and I wasn't sure if I was supposed to like bounce and hit on somebody, if I was supposed to like get like some kind of a weapon and hit people. Like, I honestly didn't really know how to play it. And a lot of times you don't really read the manual. You just kind of want to just jump in, and you assume you'll just pick it up. Yeah. And that's the game I could never like really just get into. It was just, it was pretty brutal.
Maybe because we're used to playing like Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
So you would think, okay, you just jump on the enemy, or the other way where you have like Mega Man, where you have a shooter. You're shooting, or Contra, where you have a gun, but in Darkwing Duck, all he has is that grappling hook, right? The grappling hook.
Yeah.
So you're trying to figure out, okay,
so that plus the freaking super like 2-second delay on tapping buttons.
Did any of y'all ever perfect that double jump?
No, I don't even think I ever got deep enough in the game to ever really like honestly, like now I'm kind of leaning on wanting to maybe try it out tonight just to see, but like, I just could never get into the game. It's one of those games where I just kind of hated it, and that was it. I left it at that, and I never really like jumped. It wasn't until you actually hit me up in Portland like 2 years ago, and you were like, let's do a video on this, and I was like, I don't even know if I want to revisit that game.
Oh man! So Oscar, are you going back to Portland next year?
This year I wanted to go. Before the stuff happened, I kind of wanted to go just actually enjoy it for once, like to actually go and have fun and actually check out panels and stuff. And I kind of was intending, and actually I was actually telling the guys in the group chat that I kind of like, it was like about a week ago, like, I don't know, one of the early mornings here in LA, I kind of got a weird like cold Portland misty vibe, and it reminded me of us hanging out there and stuff. And I kind of like, I was thinking to myself, man, I kind of want to go back. I miss the smells and the sights and the weather, because we don't get that kind of weather here and stuff. And but now with all the stuff, all the rioting going on over there, I mean, I'd be kind of weary to go back there. Like, I don't know if it's going to be a little scary, like you have all these people running around and with like lasers in your eyes, and I don't know, it's a little crazy.
Yeah, hopefully next year it'll be better, because I definitely want to go back and, like you said, just check out the panels, actually go as a shopper instead of a
and maybe look around and see if I could finally pick up maybe one of those last 4 titles, maybe Wheel and Deal or something, but I still had a lot of stuff left over from Portland from last year, and then I got a few other little lots that I kind of picked up here and there, but it's just when all this stuff went down, it's just kind of just started just selling a lot of that on eBay or whatever.
You still got that box set you were trying to sell at Darkwing?
That I actually sold kind of early, actually. Yeah, I did. Somebody did reach out. Someone reached out and bought it. Somebody actually, because remember we would hand out Lucas's business cards, and I guess somebody must have actually found my profile through that. and reached out to me and actually bought a few games like direct. So that was one of the games that somebody was like asking if I still had it. I had it for you waiting till the last day.
What's that?
If you need a box,
I had it holding for you.
Yeah, I need a box, man. I need the box. I had the manual and I had the game, but I don't have a box. I'm looking for something right now that I want to show Jose and our listeners. If I can find it really quick. I don't know exactly where it's at, but Jose sold me the box art for the NES version and told me it was missing the manual. So I went all around Portland for 2 hours, all these vendors, and I finally found the manual for $10. But when I opened up his box, I should have did this at the beginning. The manual was already in there.
Oh, was it?
Wow.
Yeah, so now I got 2 manuals.
It happens after a while. You buy so many games, you think, okay, I think I have the manual for this. Because you know what? I thought I did not have the manual to Airzonk, and I bought. Somebody sent me. I think Oscar, you sent me. They're like, oh look, there's an Airzonk on sale on eBay for like $15 or something. So all right, cool. I bought it. I buy it, I get it. Okay, cool. Let me look for my Airzonk, and Airzonk is the first game on my stack because I go by alphabetical order. Or at least I try. And then I realized, oh shit, I do have Airzonk. So now I got an extra Airzonk manual. Well, so it happens. I mean, you forget which games had manuals in them.
Well, now you have trade bait for all the out there.
Now, so here's the box one that Jose sold me, but I got 2 autographs on it. I got Katie Lee, who voiced Honker, and I got Terry McGovern, who voiced Launchpad. Now I just need Jim Cummings' autograph on there.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Would he be hard to get?
Yeah.
No, he goes to a lot of conventions.
Okay.
He's pretty popular because he also voices Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, so he's in high demand,
Well, have you actually been out, Will, out here to visit Disneyland at all, or not?
No. I went to a convention actually like 3 weeks ago. It was in Huntsville, Alabama. It was a little weird because it was so spaced out because of the whole Corona stuff.
Yeah.
And there only like 300, maybe 300 or 400 people showed up.
Yeah, I think this weekend was that drive-through expo that Gamester was throwing. I think it was this weekend.
Was it in Phoenix? It's Phoenix, right?
Yeah, but that was like weird. Like, how do you drive through an expo, or like how does that work?
That's gotta be weird.
Well, I mean, they have that drive-through strip club, so I mean,
that's out of control.
Yeah, Will.
Yeah,
just for any of your listeners, if they do decide to try to play the game, just one more word of advice for them is, and I didn't know this after hours of frustration playing it, but make sure they play the game on easy, because easy is actually normal. When you play normal on Darkwing Duck, it's the hard. Okay. So make sure that they play it on easy. Some good advice to save hours of frustration.
Okay. All right, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up. And then if y'all don't mind hanging around 10 more minutes, I'll go live on our Facebook page. We can just talk Turbo for like 10, 15 minutes or so.
I'm down for whatever.
All right, guys. So that's it. We're done talking about Darkwing for the Turbografx-16. We're gonna go.
Yeah,
Facebook
enough about Darkwing Duck. No more.
All right, guys. So thank y'all for tuning in for this conversation about the Turbo version of Darkwing. And remember, stay dangerous.
The game only has 4 stages. You wouldn't think this would be such a big deal. Well, guess what? After you do all that work, collect all the puzzle pieces, finally get the steel beak, defeat the game, raise your blood pressure until you're close to having a heart attack. Yep, it's the same ending. F*** you.